I started Massimo, I just got from CCIM, and I'd had a residential team for a long time, and I was moving over to commercial and doing apartments. So I think at the time, my main goal was to just focus exclusively on apartments and have somebody else run my residential team. I'd either read Rod's book or saw a webinar or something, and that's when he had the Massimo conference in Raleigh at Duke, and I went to that, and after that's when I signed up, and I just thought it was like the best commercial training. It's kind of like a blueprint on how to run a good commercial business, so that's why I signed up. I think the biggest change I made is I started focusing just on multifamily, and I totally outsourced my residential business. And eventually in 2018 or so, the guy that was leading my residential team went off to do his own thing, so I just cut residential out altogether and just did multifamily from that point on. And the biggest change is just focusing and being able to get more market share and do a better job for the people I was working with, because I was focused and specialized more. Probably the second thing is the tracker, the Massimo Tracker, and we live and die by that every day. And that's our, in residential we had an MLS, but commercial, a lot of these apartment brokers don't advertise their apartments anywhere but their own website. So we have a list of about 30 or 40 different places we go to once a week with our interns. It's part of their job is to find out what's all on the market, and then when they sell, then you call the brokers and get sales prices, and that's how our data for the whole business is off of that Massimo Tracker. I think what it did help is more of the content creating and the messaging to the people I was calling, and providing more value to the people I was calling instead of just asking if they're wanting to sell or buy. Basically, you get a lot more like the content creator of things. I remember the exercise we did in the Massimo conference, like identifying all the stakeholders and what their issues were and developing content around that. And that was marketing wise, that's helped a lot. I love the way that the coaching has modules, and you kind of got a game plan from day one on what modules to work through, and you have homework, and it's a pretty defined process. I think after you go through all those modules, I think it's more like going over your day-to-day business with the coach. And Dave was always helpful about not only referring me to people that could help, or even if it was other brokers across the country that he was coaching, just for introductions. I mean, he's always good about connecting me with the right people and just talking through team building issues and hiring and training the people that you have. And I can say, since Massimo, I've had there's been 2 people on my team since 2018, which before that, I think I had a lot more turnover on my team, especially when I was on the residential side. And then we've been able to kind of establish or partner up with the local university, Texas Tech. They have a really good real estate, finance program. So one of the guys I hired on my team, he came from that program, so he's been able to get interns out there. We've been able to keep interns, at least one a semester in here that's helped out on some of the data collection. And like Ryan and Jackson on my team, they came from that program. They went through the internship, and now they're brokers on the team. So I think just him giving us the idea of, hey, you should reach out to the local university if they've got a good program, and start hiring from there. I know, specifically 20 and 21 were excellent years for multifamily. I mean, it was the first time I ever earned over $1 million both those years. And before that, we'd sell quite a few units on residential, but I don't know that I ever made over $500,000 or $600,000. But 2021 were kind of banner years for us, and a lot of it was just, I think, due to just focusing on the multifamily and kind of putting everything else aside or referring out. What I've seen, I think it's the best commercial coaching program out there. I think you have great coaches, and it's a really defined process that I've got set up. I like how you could, watch a video and do the homework, and that's what you did for the next week. I like how it was laid out, and you knew what you're going to be learning. It wasn't just like you showed up to the call and didn't know what you're going to be talking about. The key things were the marketing, and the tracker is probably the biggest thing. I think that's the one tool out of the whole program that's shifted our business more, because before we had that, you just look on LoopNet or look on maybe Crexy, but you didn't think about all the 30 broker sites that had a listing on there. So I think that's probably the best thing out of the whole deal. And I think COVID kind of forced us all to do things a little different and better. And I think that's when Massimo really started adding more, the group coaching calls and things like that. You learn a lot from other people that are maybe selling the same product, but in a different market, or even selling different products in different markets. I think that's when y'all started doing the group calls, and I think that was really helpful, hearing from other people too. There's a fine line between learning all the time and then implementing what you learn. So I think y'all got a good balance. I think I would have done better if I would have participated more in more of the trainings and weekly calls.